Mayor Stockford and council members, this is the happiest I have ever been to stand up and talk to you. I am Ginger Novak from Ward 4, and I just want to thank you for the appointment of Laura Negas to the library board. When I read her resume, I was just tickled to death that she had two things that were mentioned last year during the library board meetings, that we needed someone with actual library experience, and we also wanted someone who had experience working in Hillsdale, and Ms. Negas covers both of those beautifully, and I just want to thank you and ask the council members to please support this act for excellence on the Hillsdale Library Board. Thanks.
Thank you, Ginger. Any more public comment? Agenda items?
Hi. Good evening. I'm Sarah Yax, Ward 4, and I've messaged everybody and said that I want support for Laura Negas as library board member. So I just want to add that in there, and thank you all for the wonderful job that you do for our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Evening, Mr. Mayor, council persons. My name is Paul Kluel. I'm in Ward 2, and I would also like to speak in support of Laura Negas for the open spot on the library board. I think she would be excellent for that spot, and I hope that you'll support her tonight. And thanks also for the excellent work you do for the city.
Thank you, Paul.
Melissa Jardin, Hillsdale Community Thrift, Ward 3. I'm just up here as part of a group of my individuals that would like to see more diversity when it comes to the library board. Whether you pick whoever it is, but having 3 from Hillsdale College, 2 from the same division in the college doesn't seem very diverse. I do believe that it's important that we get all avenues from all aspects from everybody in the community. I think it's important that we all work together as a community. I have nothing against Hillsdale College. Obviously, the kids come and volunteer at my store all the time. I just think it's really important to always remember that the community as a whole, we all live and work and we all do this together. So I think it's important when we want to strive for diversity, it's from all aspects and all corners of the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Missy. Any more public comment?
Mayor Stockford, members of the City Council, my name is Jean Heisey and I am from Ward 4. I had not met Ms. Negas until this evening, but I did read her vitae information, and I think it's important on this particular board that it really requires someone with a background in education and library science, because it truly is a science. And Ms. Negas has shown experience in many, many levels of participants in the library, and she certainly is highly educated. So thank you for appointing her, and I hope that the board will, your council will support that.
Thank you, Jean. Any more public comment?
My name is Jaminda Springer. I live in Ward 4, and I know Laura Negas personally, and I think that her personality and temperament would be just what the library board needs. She, you can't help but love her. She's so friendly and kind, and I think that the library board could greatly benefit from a kind, welcoming, friendly face. And I also think Laura has expertise to really encourage and support the library in ways that probably people don't even understand if you're not in the library sciences. So I really commend you for appointing her, and I urge you to vote yes.
Thank you, Jaminda.
Hi there, I am Catherine Watkins. I'm actually a Hillsdale Township resident, but I am a taxpayer that also pays taxes to the library. I know the majority of the people standing before me don't care one iota about what I have to say, like so many other issues over the last few years. You've all made your decision, and the appointment of Laura Negas that you're about to make to the library board is just another demonstration of council's loyalty to Hillsdale College over your own constituents, but that certainly won't stop you from being held accountable. In response to the mayor's argument that Jim Bowen was also employed by the college, let me remind you that Jim Bowen was also elected by voters to the Hillsdale Community Schools Board of Education, unlike Laura Negas. The ordinance that changed the library board selection policy cited Hillsdale Community Schools having their own libraries as reason they don't need representation on the Hillsdale Community Library Board, and yet Hillsdale College has their own library as well, of which Laura Negas and George Allen work at. Do they not also have their own library to run and therefore don't need representation on our community library? Why are we replacing public school representation with private school representation on a taxpayer-funded library? Hillsdale College pays no taxes, yet this council intends to give representation of Hillsdale College's 60% majority on our community library board after intentionally removing the only means of representation for county residents like myself, whose tax dollars do help fund the Hillsdale Community Library. There are always going to be differences between the people that we don't agree with. You claim that the LGBTQ community has been shoving it down your throats, yet I don't see a pride parade or anyone demanding action on the lack of equal representation of all identities in the library, with nearly 16 times more books about Christianity than about non-white Christian cis identities. All I see is people who believe that anything less than the extinction of anyone who isn't just like them, enough on the quest to proselytize everything that surrounds them. The repeated sermons and religious doctrine that have been spewed on multiple occasions within this chamber have personally triggered my PTSD as a result of child sexual assault within the church, and yet members on this board do not feel an ounce of guilt or shame for the harm that their words have caused. I have to accept the near daily reminders of an organization that caused me permanent and irreparable harm, and I am not alone within this community. We all have to learn to accept those that live differently than we do, and that includes all of you. Your intolerance is not a flex. It is a testament to your insecurity and lack of emotional intelligence. The appointment of Laura Negas this evening will take us further down a path of discrimination and division imposed on your constituents. Mayor Stockford claims he wants the library drama to be over, but fails to realize that after they get their vote from Laura Negas, answers on the pages will be removed, and then challenges will be filed to any book that doesn't fit within the Christian nationalist agenda. And before you know it, the state is smack dab in the middle of an Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act violation for illegal discrimination against the LGBTQ community. The drama will have just begun if you approve this appointment. It's time to stop complaining about the division you're choosing to create here and just stop creating it in the first place. And it's time to remember that Hillsdale College exists within the Hillsdale community, not the other way around.
Thank you, Catherine. Any more public comment?
Hello, my name is Tara Scott, and I am in Ward 2. I will be honest, I do not know the new library nomination, and I will not participate in comments for or against her. My biggest concern here tonight is still the selection process. Do you homeschool your children, and would you ban LGBTQ books? Should never be a library board qualification. While an employee of the Hillsdale College might not have state oversight in their job, the city of Hillsdale does regarding the liability of the library board. I believe you should consult with your city attorney about the validity of this council's political criteria for a trustee before voting for your choice. I'm worried about potential litigation and the financial consequences of these moves for our city, and I'm sincerely concerned that the council and the mayor are not. At the end of the day, this goes back to censorship or curation, as some would say. Many of you did not read the book currently challenged. I did. I find it pathetic that a recreation of the Lady and the Tramp spaghetti scene has everyone so upset. Instead of a female and a male dog, there were 2 boys. Spoiler alert, that's it. That's all that happens in that book. The characters did not have further relations that resulted in a litter like Lady and the Tramp did. If you are okay with Lady and the Tramp, then removing this book based on its content is clearly discrimination. Discrimination of educational materials on the basis of sexual orientation could very well be a violation of the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act that is Michigan law. With this vote tonight, I caution you to not open the city up to costly lawsuits.
Thank you, Tara. Any more public comment?
Good evening. Mr. Mayor, members of the council. My name is George Allen, and I live in Ward 4 with my wife and 3 children. While I am currently serving as a member of the Community Library Board, I should clarify that I am not now speaking on behalf of the board as a whole. I would just like to say that I'm very pleased to see Mrs. Laura Negas on the agenda to be appointed to the empty seat on the Hillsdale Community Library Board. As she is a credentialed librarian and has worked as the children's librarian at the community library in the past, I believe Mrs. Negas will bring a mature and informed level of judgment to the position, well acquainted with the needs and challenges both of the profession and of this community. Indeed, I cannot think of anyone better suited to joining in the governance of that institution. I can personally vouch for her character, her intelligence, and her good grace, and I'm looking forward to working with her on the board. Thank you, and thank you for your service.
Thank you, George.
Good evening. My name is John Brooks, and I am a city taxpayer who lives in Ward 4. I am here to express my support for Laura Negas' appointment to the library board. Looking at her resume, she seems to be the perfect selection. Having learned that she worked at Hillsdale Community Library as the children's librarian, and that by all accounts she served well and was very much liked by the community's children, I have confidence that she is qualified for service on the library's board. Also, in response to a few of the other comments tonight, I don't think her appointment constitutes any sort of violation of the Elliott Larson Act.
Thank you, sir. Any more public comment?
Mayor and Council, Elizabeth Schlueter. I live with my husband and 9 children in Ward 1. We greatly value the library. We were very pleased to see this appointment on the agenda. I think you'd have to search to find someone as well qualified as Mrs. Negas. I know her personally and can also vouch for her pleasant and mature and tolerant manner in all things. I think we're lucky to have someone like this apply for this position, and I'm so glad to see that she was nominated by the mayor. I hope that she will be appointed tonight. I do want to briefly address the sort of anti-Hillsdale College Association critiques that have been made of Mrs. Negas. I think this is a deeply disturbing and misguided attitude for citizens of Hillsdale City to have. The college is a huge advantage to us in many ways, but certainly some sort of tangential association with the college is a net positive, not a net negative. It's a nationally recognized and impressive institution. But secondly, I think the sense that the college is calling the shots behind the scenes for anyone who's worked for them or married to someone who's worked for them is misguided and doesn't see the citizens of this city for who they are. People who have had some contact with the college are invested here, they live here, they're residents here, they are no more or less citizens of this city than anyone else. And I think that it's counterproductive for people to think there's a Hillsdale College deep state, or that Larry Arnn has told us to get involved, or anyone to get involved. That's certainly not the case. These are citizens just like any other who are concerned and well-informed. So thank you so much for appointing her, and I hope to see her confirmed today.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Any more public comment?
Jack McLean, and this is your hearing advice. I'll guarantee if my name was Peter Jennings, I wouldn't have got the Miracle Year advertisement that I got last time I was here. I'm a veteran, so is he. Some of us veterans, depending on our MOS, had loss of hearing, which I guess some people look down on that. This is great. I did not hear anything from any council member. This comes from an employee of the city, I guess. So, that being said, I appreciate it. I can actually hear what's being said. Very plain, very plain. One thing I will say, the lady spoke, I do know the college paid people to get involved in city government. Maybe they don't now, but they did in the past. So that being said, I just think people should look at things before they actually speak and talk about it. I'm not saying it's happening today. I'm just saying it happened in the past. So, again, I think, not myself personally, but veterans should be respected. Just because they have a handicap with not being able to hear real good, then, you know, that's not right to be pondered down and looked down on. I have hearing aids, thank you very much. I've had them probably a lot longer than you have, but this thing is definitely good. Why spend the money on something like this and advertise it if you're not gonna let people use it? It doesn't make any sense at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jack. Any more public comment regarding the agenda items?
My name is Catherine Tinnis and I live in Ward 1. I just want to say that I am pleased to see that Laura Negas has been nominated for the library board position. As people have already said, she has library experience, but more importantly, she's worked for our own library in our own community. She's been vetted. We already know that she's kind, we know she's hardworking, we know she's a team player, and she's fully knowledgeable about what goes into making a library successful and meaningful for the community. So she's not a wild card, she's already been here. She even worked, as people have mentioned, in the children's section here and in other places earlier in her career. And now she's looking to serve her community and volunteer her time, even though she is qualified to be paid and on staff. So I just want to point out, we are getting free library advice, not on the taxpayer dollar. So as a taxpayer, that makes me really thankful for her service. As for, I just don't understand the animosity directed at her or towards Hillsdale College. From what I understand, Hillsdale College is a major employer in the community, and a brief look at their payroll numbers from Zappia.com says that they employ just over 1,000 people. So if those people are married, you're looking at a quarter of the city of Hillsdale, which is around 8,000 people. Not all of those jobs are political. Everyone working for the college has an political axe to grind, and certainly not all of those jobs are flashy. I just ask you to consider the lunch line ladies, the janitors, the people who are working there for a job in order sometimes even to take advantage of getting tuition help for their children and their grandchildren. I don't think we should discriminate against hardworking people and question their public service because they work for the largest employer in a town of 8,000 people. We want hardworking people to know that they are valued and wanted and will be respected, even if they must work at Hillsdale College. I would think twice about not voting for her for that kind of a reason. So thank you for your time.
Thank you, Catherine. Any more public comment regarding agenda items?
Father Stephen Allen, Ward 4. Just want to say very briefly that Mrs. Negas is obviously eminently qualified, and I ask you to vote yes for her confirmation.
Thank you, Father. Any more public comment?